Hey guys, Scott here, and now I finally played The Unknown for it's like 4 or 5 hours yesterday, and I have a good idea of what I think about him so far. These are definitely just first impressions, but overall, I'd say they're sort of mixed. There's a lot of really good stuff, and there's nothing really bad about him. There's a lot of stuff that feels like not great. Let's start with the bad and then go into the good. The bad, I feel like his power does not match what he or it even is. Like when you saw the trailers for this thing and when you see it in game and you hear it and everything about it, you don't think that M60 grenade launcher with goop is going to be the power. It doesn't like thematically fit. Everything else aesthetically fits perfectly, but then he just has like this goopy projectile bouncy power. It really just, yeah, I don't know. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It just does not really seem to fit whatsoever. Additionally, his power portion where he can shoot projectiles that kind of bounce feels kind of awkward. The collision in Dead by Daylight is notoriously jank, so having a power that requires you to bounce stuff off of walls is just inherently going to be really frustrating. Now, admittedly, I'm very new to the killer, and I'm sure as you play it more and more, you'll get better and better at it, but it definitely feels a bit clunky to use. So the actual way you damage people with this power is it's a little clunky, and the skill floor for it is extremely high. So I can't imagine at the current state this killer will be played by many people, because he's like almost singularity tier in terms of like mechanically difficult to play. And yeah, that's going to make it so very few people actually play him. Personally, I think I actually enjoyed him. I think I had a really good time playing this killer. There's just a couple of things that feel a little jank, but that's pretty much all the bad. The good now. The teleport feature that you have feels incredibly good. It is like the smoothest teleport in the entire game. So as you walk around the map, on the left side of your screen, you'll see these little like goop things start growing up the side of your screen. When it gets to the top, then it will leave out a little clone of yourself, and you can teleport to that clone of yourself whenever you want. Now, there's a big cooldown for it, but the teleport is basically instant. It is like within 1 second, you were across the entire map. It's pretty much as fast as a hag teleport, except you can do it on demand wherever you want to teleport. So that is really, really nice. You can also kind of control where you want to leave these, because if you're holding your power, you won't actually shit out one of your little hallucinations. So you can kind of put it near generators, and you can modify it to be closer to what you want. You can't directly place it, which is a good thing in my opinion. Otherwise, people would just place it at generators, then would instantly teleport to gens, and we'd have another 3-gen scenario, and it would just be boring. So I like that there's some skill involved with actually placing your drones, hallucinations, whatever you want to call them. And that is probably the best part about them. The mechanics of teleporting feel absolutely great. And in fact, a lot of my hits were just from the teleports, not my actual power. Aesthetically, again, killer is incredible. His Mori is awesome. Music is decent, not amazing, but it's acceptable. The little voice lines that the killer has, very cool. Perks are, for the most part, pretty decent. It's just the projectile thing. It just doesn't feel quite right. I'm not sure how to describe it. I was really not able to figure out the pattern with what makes it bounce and what makes it not bounce. It seems to be there is a set distance past a certain point at which it will no longer bounce. I don't know what exactly that is, but there's some type of distance where it won't bounce anymore. Additionally, if you shoot it directly at your feet, it's kind of like using Magma Orb or Rolling Magma in Path of Exile, if you've ever done that. It's kind of frustrating hitting people right in front of you, because it's going to bounce off the ground first and go ahead of you. So they have to be a certain distance in front of you for it to actually hit. It takes surprisingly long to take out your little tentacle ball launcher penis thing. So that can be kind of frustrating too. Putting it away and taking it out also slows you down a fair amount. So it's not quite so smooth. Clunky is the best word I can use to describe it. Now, when you do get a sweet mortar shot, it feels awesome. But the thing is, the first like 4 or 5 games, I lost every single game. Now, I play custom games with people I know to be experienced players, because that's the best way to see if it's good or not. Like, you can beat up randoms and just say the killer's great anytime. But when you go against people you know to be good at the game, it's going to be a lot tougher. So it's a better judgment. And yeah, those like first 4 or 5 games, I lost every single game. I got like 4 hooks maybe. Like I just did not do well at all. But then I started changing my playstyle a bit, because in those original games, I was trying to get cool mortar shots across the map. I was trying to like ricochet stuff off of pallets and stuff like that and just be fancy overall. And it ended up just not really being worth it. The correct way to do it is almost like your nemesis with the tentacles. Once you're in close range, then you can launch it. So it's much easier to actually hit. Then once they're marked, any subsequent hits will be, something that is going to damage them. Another thing that didn't feel great about the killer was the reveal mechanic. So it kind of has like Ghostface physics where you have to look at the killer. Once you're tagged with the explosion, you get something called weakness. You have like a purple debuff on the left side of your screen. The way you remove that is by looking directly at the killer. I guess the lore reason is it's not unknown if you're looking at it, so he loses his power. Kind of makes sense. Kind of cool. The thing is, though, this window lasts for a really long time. So you can turn around, look at the killer, and turn back and keep running. And you only have to do that like once every 3 seconds because it will keep removing it. It's not like Ghostface where you need constant vision of it. It will keep removing it seconds after you've actually stopped looking. So it can be like, it's this whole scenario where they look at you for 1 second, they run behind a wall, and as they're behind a wall, you can't even see them. Then you lose the weakness on them. Then you have to hit them again with your power and then hit them again to damage them. So it ends up taking a really long time against competent players to know how to look at you mid-chase. And that's what feels the worst about it. Again, against babies that don't even look behind them and chase, this is going to be super strong. This killer seems like an absolute baby stomper. And not super great against experienced players. I will not say weak, though, because there's definitely potential with the power. And when I used it in a, frankly, more boring way, kind of like Nemesis's power, where I was just using it very close range and mostly just in safe areas, it became a lot more effective, but also way more boring. So if that's the main way we got to do it, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. Once I was like handily winning matches, then I would try like actually going for mortar shots. And I got a couple of really cool ones like across the entire map. And that feels great, but if you're going for those every time, you're just going to lose. So it seems like the safe shots are really the best idea so far. But again, this killer has an extremely high skill cap that's sort of mitigated by the sheer RNG of just how collision works in this game. So I feel like no matter how good you get, you're still going to have some weird-ass collision sometimes, and there's not really much you can do about that. So overall, I think the killer is kind of decent. I just wish they would make it so the reveal requires more looking at the killer itself. That's probably the main thing. The teleport feels perfect. The reveal mechanic is a little too forgiving in favor of the survivor. And honestly, I would make the bouncing more prevalent with the power. I would love an actual bouncing power, but the thing is, it bounces like a wet fart. It just goes like blip and just falls down. I would love to be like in doing some billiard shit, like banking it off walls and it actually goes a lot farther or something like that. Also, I would love it if the direct hit with the ball actually did anything. It says it hinders people, but I was playing against people that were in chat and I directly hit them with it. I even got the scoring event for it and just nothing happened. They didn't get slowed down. So I don't know if that's just an outdated thing or it's broken or something, but direct hits currently do absolutely nothing. And they need to make it so, you know, that actually does something because nothing feels as bad as hitting somebody with this power, which is really hard to hit, by the way. The direct ball, not the explosion. The explosion's pretty big, but the direct ball is pretty damn hard to hit. So having to just get nothing from that feels terrible. So those are the main concerns. Reveal too forgiving for Survivor. Direct hits do basically nothing. And the projectiles bouncing is just very like lackluster. If they touch up those things, I think this could be a really cool killer with a really high skill cap. That could be a lot of fun to spend time learning. But I'll be honest, I had more fun trying out like Pig and Doctor and all those new changes. So overall, he's sort of like a B for me right now. I think he's got a lot of potential, though. This is not something unsalvageable like Skull Merchant or something like that. This is definitely something we can make into something pretty viable, powerful, and also really fun to play. So a couple of little changes, and I think this guy could be pretty fun to play. So those are my initial thoughts on the Unknown. The new map, by the way, I actually don't mind that much. It's pretty decent as far as DBD new maps go. So that one's pretty cool. We also got word that the new Wicked perk for the Survivor Sable, the actual finalized version, essentially gives you free basement unhooks. So you're guaranteed to unhook yourself in the basement if it's your first hook, which is actually pretty damn powerful for countering, you know, trapper snowballing and things like that. So that's pretty much it. I think my next video will be going over the Pig, which I found to be kind of more fun. In fact, I think I'm just going to spend the entirety of the PTB today playing Pig some more, because I want to get a really good grasp of how strong she actually is, because her anti-loot felt pretty good, but also maybe people haven't had time to adjust to her having a much longer ambush and things like that. So we'll see how that goes. But those are my thoughts on the Unknown. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.